Hello, everyone. Welcome to the undergraduate webinar series, an interactive online platform connecting high school students to the Ashoka community. Thank you all for joining us for today's webinar for Campus to Career, Charting Diverse Paths After Ashoka. My name is Jeenal Shah. I'm an Assistant Director for Outreach. I would like to welcome a panel of speakers. We have with us Urmi Singh, who's the Senior Director, Career Development Office at Ashoka University. She's based in Bangalore and is largely responsible for outreach for both placements and internship. Welcome, Urmi. Our second speaker is Uma Shankar. He's currently working at BCG as an associate consultant, where he has undertaken globally significant cases in the consulting space. Prior to BCG, he was at Ashoka University, where he completed his BSc honors in Eco and Finance, and eventually an advanced major where he wrote a thesis in economics. Welcome, Uma Shankar.
Thank you.
Before we begin, I'd like to inform our audience that applications for round 2 of Ashoka's undergraduate program are open, and the deadlines to apply in round 2 is 10th January 2024. You do not have to wait for your 12th board marks or CUET to apply, and you can get a confirmed offer of admission and financial aid by March 2024. Now, without further ado, let's get started. I would request our audience to kindly type any questions they might have in the Q&A box provided on our Zoom screens. We will address them towards the end of the session. Starting with the first question of the day, and Umi, that's coming your way. So, Umi, I just want you to, talk about what is the role of Career Development Office at Ashoka and how does it help students to prepare for job placements?
Sure. Thank you, Jeenal. So the Career Development Office is a 12-member strong team. And most of us report to work from campus, which means we are in close proximity to student community, right? The role of this office is largely to bring opportunities for students when it comes to placements as well as internships. And in doing so, it is not just that we place the opportunity, we also train our students so that the selection system, the selection process is seamless. We have now started training our students right from year 1. And a lot of these sessions are now mandated. We are growing every year. And from internship training to placement training, we train our students so that they can crack very competitive selection processes and go ahead to the corporate world in a seamless fashion. So the journey from campus to corporate is what is done at the Career Development Office.
Okay, that's lovely. Great, Uma Shankar. I'd like you to kind of, talk about how Career Development Office supported you in your journey of, the whole placement process and navigating different opportunities available to you. Would you just highlight on that?
Yeah. So I think my time at Ashoka, when the Career Development Office, I think, brought a change to private education in India in liberal studies that I don't think had ever been seen before. The CDO during the last couple of years that I was at Ashoka brought in companies and brought in roles that students who were studying economics and even liberal arts, psychology, sociology, and sort of subjects of that nature, they never had opportunity and access to those roles till Ashoka's CDO brought those roles ahead. In terms of sort of the active involvement that they had in students' lives and their careers, in third year and fourth year, I think as now Urmi said, it's been expanded to across the 4 years. But in third year and fourth year, we had these sessions with the Career Development Office where the office first enabled you to translate your experiences into relevant communication to employers, right? Whether it's for internships or whether it's for jobs. A lot of students may not have, your sort of square cut experiences, which is corporate internships and things of that nature. Even I personally came from an experience background which never resembled anything that you would normally see in a consulting candidate. But I think it was the Career Development Office that really translated and helped me imbibe the right values out of my experiences, translate them into a manner that was conveyable to corporate employers, and really enabled that entire journey from sort of 0 to 1 and from 1 to 100 through the entire process. And there's also the internship base, because if you see in India, a lot of the internships that students get are very much connection based, because colleges in India just don't have that level of access to corporates. What the CDO has done at my time and sort of expanding into it now is bringing those internships in, because internships are crucial for you to sort of get a job down the line. And access to those internships has really been democratized at Ashoka, which really isn't the case at DU or any of these other bigger liberal arts universities. So I think that they've played a real key role in both performing the task of giving opportunities to students and jobs, and also enabling them from their journey to 0 to 1 and then from 1 to 100.
Yeah, very rightly said. I think what you said, it's important that your experiences are relevantly communicated to, in your corporate world, because otherwise, it can be very, very flat. So yes, absolutely. Coming to you, Urmi, again, you mentioned about the preparatory program at the CDO office, which we do it with the students. So can you tell us what is covered in that? Can all students participate in that program?
Right. So, yes, all students can definitely participate in this program. It is open to everybody who is seeking placement opportunities or internship opportunities, right? Some students want to go after Ashoka for higher education and they don't seek such opportunity, especially placement. Internship, again, many students with higher ed aspirations would still want to do internships. Now, yes, so it's open to everybody. What it does is, as a student does not know how a workplace functions. So it familiarizes the students on what to expect when you join a workforce. But even before that, how to prepare, which would include how to even read a job description, how to write your CV, how to write the CV in a concise manner so that all your experiences and education is covered in a crisp, sharp manner. The words that you're using on your CV are attractive enough to the recruiter. Then we all have many, many sessions by our alumni or industry leader who specifically take up cases on different roles. For example, Uma Shankar himself has taken an alumni session only for those students who are interested in consulting. Likewise, we've had leaders. I mean, Uma Shankar is still a fresher. It just has about 2 years of experience now. But we've had senior partner level, officers and leaders who come and train the students on what to expect from a specific industry, specific role. Right. So we then divide a lot of our session into consulting, maybe BFSI, product roles, analytical roles, etc. So this is one part of the preparatory program. Another part of the preparatory program is to enable students on certain very simple but very important skill sets. And those could be Excel, analytical skills, even finance for non-finance role. Now, in Ashoka, there are a lot of students who are interested in, say, not-for-profit or social sector. But everybody got to understand a little bit of numbers, a little bit of finance, right? So that entire holistic preparation is done through various different modules and given out to students by various different facilitators. How to crack an interview, how to speak, the basic etiquettes of an interview, how to do a group discussion, how to listen and not always speak while you are in a group discussion, how to do guesstimates. Guesstimates are very important now in several selection processes. Therefore, how to do a guesstimate. There's a whole lot of things, and every bit of it that is covered in the preparatory program.
Okay, yeah, I mean, this sounds pretty interesting. In fact, I think I'd want to attend some of them for sure. Yes, great. Uma Shankar, coming to you again, what led you to choose the company that you joined? Of course, it's BCG, but then I'm sure, what are the factors that you took into consideration? And what I've also known that at Ashoka, it's not that the company chooses the candidates also choose the company, right? So just highlight on that.
So I think in terms of choosing BCG during the placement process, right? I think the CDO provided us with an opportunity of a wide gamut of companies, right? It wasn't just consulting. There was banking, there was BFSI, as we mentioned, there was not-for-profits, there were consulting and development sectors and things of that nature. And I think with BCG, it just sort of it gave me an opportunity to take the skills that I had in college, that I developed in college through my 3 years in my BSc and sort of when I wrote my thesis, and translate that into a corporate environment. And I think in selecting a path, I think the CDO also plays a very important role. If you were to take a bird's eye view of what opportunities are for, say, a student after they're done with their 3 years or 4 years, right? I think after my fourth year, after I wrote my thesis, I was at a very critical point in my life where I had to choose between going down the academic route, which Ashoka had completely prepared me for. And I think for a lot of the parents, you'll realize down the line, not right now, that so your kids might go into college thinking they want to do a job, and into year two they'll realize, okay, no, I want to be an academic, and in year four they might think they want to go back to getting a job. I think what the CDO did across those 4 years is, right, they enable us again, as when we said, these preparatory sessions and these CV sessions that are held, they aren't only useful for jobs, they're also useful for further academic journeys. Those same CVs are used for graduate applications and things of that nature. And towards the end, CDO held some sessions in my time at Ashoka, which really clarified those options for me, right? I had those things in front of me. I had grad school applications in front of me, and I had jobs in front of me. And a lot of sessions were held, as we pointed out, where industry leaders come in, not folks who've just worked for a couple of years, folks who've actually made a living out of it and are really successful in those industries. So I think all of those things enable you to go and make as much of an informed choice as you can, when you're 22, 23 years old. And again, I think this is just for the parents of students who don't know what they want to do. I think the CDO does a really good job of making that choice very clear, because and the CDO doesn't only want to get kids placed. I think the point of the CDO is to get the students into the opportunities where they fit best and where they'll excel the most. And I think the CDO did a good job of preparing me for both avenues that I had in front of me, and also in helping me in making the choice towards BCG with holding these sort of informative sessions and things of that nature. So I think options become very clear, and the CDO also prepares you for all options that are there in front of you.
Okay, yeah. An extension to what you mentioned, I want you to talk about, Uma Shankar, about your UG experience at Ashoka, and how does an Ashoka education prepare you for the real world, the knowledge, the skills that you've acquired here? Does it continue to help you in your current role? Do you, sometimes feel relevance? Oh, this is what I did in my class. This is what I discussed in my foundation courses. Something of that you can talk about.
Right. So I did a very eco-heavy degree, right? I did economics and finance, and then I wrote a thesis in economics. But I feel once I started working, I realized that looking through life and looking through your job from a very pigeonhole perspective isn't going to get you very far. And I think what Ashoka does, it really differentiates sort of the cream of the crop amongst this job force, right? Because you'll realize once you go into the job market that most people are coming from, the best jobs that Ashoka now has access to are coming from IITs and IIMs. And the way Ashoka differentiates their students at the UG level from these other students from IITs and IIMs is that they build you holistically from the ground up. You come in from different various backgrounds into your first year. Your first year, basically your first 2 semesters, there's barely any focus on what your degree is going to be. All of that will come. It'll come in good flow down the line. But the first year is just to build you up as an individual, build your soft skills and just your horizons, because a lot of times when you go down an economics route or a psychology route, your horizons towards the end become very limited after 3 years. They might be very deep and informed, but they aren't extremely expansive. And what you need in today's job market is to be not a jack of all trades, but to be as close to a master of all trades as possible, right? The soft skills that you build through the foundation courses. For example, I did courses in history, I did courses in sociology, I did obviously finance. I've taken courses in philosophy here and there. I've tried and tested them out, and seminars and things of that nature across my UG degree. And those are things that you may not feel are relevant in the moment. And I'm sort of personally as well, I did not think that they were relevant when I was doing them. But it's only that down the line, when you start working, you realize that interacting with different folks from different areas and sort of different fields is what sort of builds you up. And those skills, firstly, you can't acquire down the line. It's very difficult to acquire them down the line, and you can leverage them to the nth degree when you're working. So the use case example of this is that, so I joined BCG in the August of 2022. and a case came up. There was a case in Africa, in Liberia, right? And there were sort of people who were engineering. This was a very engineering focused case, and completely a mechanical engineer would be the perfect fit, and there's no lack of mechanical engineers in BCG for that. But the issue is now, Ashoka taught me how to interact with people. Ashoka taught me how to interact with a diverse crowd of people. And in requirements, in the global sort of perspective of working, where you have to interact with people from different geographies, people from different fields, people from human resources, people from the sociology bent of things. There are skills that Ashoka teaches us that can help us interact with those folks. And so that enabled me to go. My first case, they shipped me off to Africa. Now, as much of a weird experience as it was, the only reason I was able to do it is because of Ashoka. The skills and the soft skills, and I think sort of extending on the academic journey as well. It's not just the academics at Ashoka. I think that's only a certain big part of it, but only a part of it. The other part is just the way you live your UG life. You have people, you interact with people from all types of places, all type of upbringings, all types of geographies. I've met people from Afghanistan. Some of my friends are from Africa, from Nairobi, from Kenya. And sort of you have people coming in from Tibet, and there are people coming in from Brazil. It's not just people from Africa and sort of the Indian super region that are coming in. We've seen people coming in from South America, North America, and things of that nature as well. And sort of that worldview that you build at Ashoka in your UG degree is something that I feel is irreplaceable and isn't offered anywhere else. So yeah, that's just how it prepared me. And I think to a level, I'm still leveraging that in my job. Even currently, I'm in the Middle East. I'm interacting with folks here, and I know how to do it already. There is no learning curve for me because I've interacted with folks from the Middle East before. I've done that in Ashoka, and I know how to interact with them. I know what cultural sensitivity is. And I think these are skills that I think growing up in CBSE and ICSE schools, you just don't have. There is homogeneity across your student life. There is no variety of experiences. And that is something that Ashoka offers. And those are skills that, quite frankly, Indian kids just don't have at the school level. And Indian colleges aren't very interested in imparting into the students. Whereas Ashoka puts a real focus into that. And that'll give you the skill set that really just the job market doesn't have currently. And it'll really separate you from the cream from the crop.
No, I couldn't.
If I can just add.
Yeah, please.
So one of our recruiter is Hindustan Unilever. They have been recruiting past 2 to 3 years. And just a few months ago, I visited their office and I asked for a feedback because our students are doing exceedingly well. Now, in a batch of students as management trainee, all other students are from top tier management schools, and then there is Ashoka. And our students are doing well. And I asked them what sets us apart. So they said that the management schools trainee, they bring a sort of a perspective that is very management heavy. It's what they learn in their school. Whereas Ashoka students, it's not that we are competing with them. We bring a perspective where we see a problem wearing multiple different hats, just as Uma was mentioning, right? So a same problem, we have a broader perspective to that problem. And therefore, when we come to solution making, it's more holistic because we are taking into consideration not just the depth of knowledge that we have acquired in college, but also the breadth. Take a little bit on, they're learning a little bit of history, a little bit of math, a little bit of economics. So all of that put together, the final solution at workplace is far more robust.
Yes. No, I couldn't agree more. Every time that I have interacted with an Ashoka alum, I think you put them in a boardroom or you put them in a conversation, and I think they can probably contribute in any topic, any industry, and that is the breadth. I think the foundation course is also built in. Also, what Uma Shankar mentioned about the diversity experience at Ashoka. So for the audience, we have students from 16 countries that study at Ashoka campus. Also, we have global faculty. We have an American, Canadian, British, Indian faculty on the campus. So yes, you pretty much get a global exposure on the campus. So it's not that when you only step in the industry, you're stuck there, but I think you already are prepared to deal with that.
Sure. So, and even from India, we have students from different geographies.
Oh, yes.
When I go to recruiters, and because I am in Bangalore, a lot of them say that, oh, then your campus is in Sonipat, then we don't have any Bangalore students. That's not true at all. Oh. We have students across geographies and across socio-economic background also. So it's a very fine mix.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. Urmi, next, I just want you to, talk about your view on some of the distinct aspects of it, Ashoka, education that attract employers. Of course, you spoke about the HUL experience, but what are they looking in for graduates while they're hiring? From an employer perspective, what do you think that really they look forward for? Yeah.
So we now realize that within the organizations, roles are merging. It's no longer that I know only computer science and therefore I'm going to get a role that is very computer science specific. Well, there are roles like that, but then there are roles where organizations expect you to know a little bit more of computer science and maybe economics, computer science and maybe entrepreneurship. So the interdisciplinary focus that Ashoka has is one of the top reason why recruiters get attracted to our campus and our students, right? That's one. Two, like Uma said, there are various foundation courses that the students do. And that gives them a strong hold on getting a worldview which is very, very broad. Again, at a job situation, that is very helpful. The softer skills that a student need is also honed in Ashoka. We have a center for communication, we have a center for learning support, and several other centers that are developing the softer skills among student body. The career development office also through the career preparatory program is skilling the students so that the transition is smoother, right? So basically the adjustments are easier. Secondly, the interdisciplinary focus helps. And thirdly, the overall DNA of any Ashoka student, three things that the college is deeply invested in, and those are communication skills, critical thinking, and problem solving. Many of our institutions and even the top level institutions somehow are focused on academics, and these three skill sets are getting left out. I went to a recruiter, I forget the name now, for a meeting, and they said that from a typical technical kind of a school, students do get in, they do well, and they reach up to a point, but beyond that, at a very senior leadership position, they are unable to make it because they lack communication skills. So if somebody comes in with communication skills that are strong, that is highly appreciated, along with critical thinking and problem solving.
Yes, definitely. So since you spoke about, centers, Uma Shankar, I want you to talk about and touch upon the Center of Entrepreneurship, which I believe plays a very crucial role in almost every student's, academic journey at Ashoka. Can you just talk a little more about that, what it does?
Yeah, so the Center for Entrepreneurship, or the CFE, as students like to call it,
Yes.
On campus, I think it plays a dual role, right? I think the first role is, as we talked about, that there are certain hard skills that employers look for: finance, business, your business sense and business technicalities, Excel modeling, PPT modeling, and things of that nature. These are skills that you can't impart in normal degrees, right? So if there are students studying even economics or political science, there is no need for us to go and learn Excel in our academic in our academic degrees as such, in our BAs or BScs. The CFE provides a wide variety of courses, and I think the number of courses is exponentially increasing every year. From when I was there, I think I recently saw the number of courses at CFE; they're increasing at an extremely high rate. And these courses cover the entire gamut. They cover business modeling, they cover financial modeling, they cover projections and things of that nature. These are hard skills that normal liberal arts students just don't possess, and that's something that sort of folks from liberal arts and from the arts backgrounds end up lacking when they go to work. We might have the best communication skills, but we might not have the hardcore technical skills. And to a level, the thing is, if you don't learn these things when you're in college or at a nascent age, it's very difficult to pick these things up later down the line. And just like with communication skills, certain skills just need to be built at the right time. And the CFE is offering these skills through these courses, and sort of really enabling kids to get those skill set at the right time, and then obviously leverage them down the line. And I think the second thing that it does is that it gives, as I said, I think Ashoka and a holistic worldview sort of go synonymously, and the CFE plays a big role in that. Outside of just industry leaders and sort of folks from Ashoka who are working in industry, what the CFE does is that it brings forth people who have transitioned from industries and from working in the corporate world to starting their own entrepreneurial journey. And I think that is also extremely important, right? Because those are things that give you long-term goals, long-term targets, things to look forward to, things that you build towards in your corporate life, right? To again not just be that, okay, I'm going to get a job and that's all there is. An Ashoka kid grows from year one to year 4 continuously. And what Ashoka allows you to do, it allows you to set targets that keeps you growing every single year outside of Ashoka. Like you don't stop being an Ashokan at the end of 4 years, at the end of 4 years. And the CFE provides you those avenues, right? Because I mean, so my father's in the government, right? I never knew what the startup world was. I think when the CFE sort of came in, made me meet folks from private equity, made me meet folks from venture capital. And again, these are things that you see, a 25-year-old person leaving his job, going towards a startup, building his own company out and getting investment, things of that nature. These are things that you need to know about to get into. And the CFE does a very good job of that. I think one of my closest friends also, the CFE enabled her to be a part of Antler, which is one of the biggest VCs in India. She was one of the founding members of their Antler cohort. And I think CFE played a huge role in that. And I think, again, so I'm not saying that starting a startup out of college is the thing that every student needs to do. I didn't go that path. But if if I'm speaking to parents, right, if your child has that knack, has that ability, CFE will leverage the right opportunities for them to transition into that role as soon as possible and enable them to sort of reach their potential.
Wow, that's quite enlightening. Urvi, would you like to add something to the Center of Entrepreneurship Experience for students?
Sorry, I was on mute.
Yes.
So I think Uma has covered most of it. Just to give you a flavor and idea, the kind of courses that they do are on, say, innovation, strategy, vision and leadership. And, they call the professor lineup is extremely well turned out. And therefore, these are people from the industry who have gone through that path, gone through that journey, coming and taking sessions for our students. We've had good sessions on finance and analytics, marketing, branding, and communication, again, extremely popular among student body. And again, taken by professors who have experience in the FMCG sector, for instance. So it's adding on to the departmental education that they're getting from the various academic department. This center is enabling them to further become ready with their dreams and with their aspirations within the corporate ecosystem.
Okay, yeah. With that, I would also request if you can share with our audience a glimpse of Ashoka placement history over the years and how it's evolved, in terms of different roles, sectors, and industries that are now coming to Ashoka. Would you be able to share that? Maybe if you want to share a slide or talk about it, whatever works for you.
Yeah, give me a minute. I will just, can you see my screen?
Yes, we can see your screen. Yeah.
This is our mission. I think we have already talked about it, so I'm going to skip it. These are some of the organizations that come to Ashoka for hiring. As you can see, they come from various different sectors. So we have the consulting right on top. Then we have in the second row, right side, we have the FMCGs clubbed together. Then we have the BFSI organizations. The tech industry comes and hire from Ashoka. Then towards the end of the slide, you will see organizations that are in the social sector, research and analytics, a little bit of pharma, BPO, KPO, etc. So because Ashoka is such a diverse sort of a campus, the aspirations are very diverse, and therefore we have to keep in mind every student's aspiration and bring on board organizations that sort of represent the entire spectrum of various industry, right? Which is why this slide captures, this is not all, just a few, just to give a glimpse that organizations come from various different sectors. I'm just skipping this because we have already talked about it. This is just to show you how placements have evolved over the years. You can see that from 2018 onwards, how we have moved to 2023. Last year, we closed at 100%, and the number was 351. Third year in a row, we are placing placements at 100%, and which we are very proud of. Some of the roles, again, the aspirations are very diverse, and because of which our students fit in multiple different roles, from hardcore tech roles, because we have very strong department of computer science, math, etc., to roles that are non-tech. So you can see industry-wise, what are the kind of roles that come to Ashoka. And the roles are, again, diverse, from a journalist to credit risk analyst to a research associate, social media manager. Our students are great with content, with writing, with strategy, HR, psych students, psychology students are good with HR. Finance related role for students such as Uma coming from economics and finance. Computer science students good with software development, front-end roles, data strategy. So there's just a lot that we cover. And we cover industries such as consulting, FMCG, education, media, pharma, social sector, etc. Some of the top organizations that have come to Ashoka in the past and who have hired, the roles are mentioned against the organization names. Hindustan Unilever, for instance, come for UFLP, which is their management trainee program. They also come for internships for students who are in year 3. Many of our students have got a pre-placement offer after the summer internship, which means they do the summer internship, come back to college for year 4, finish that, and by that time they already have that offer in hand. And likewise, all these organizations, as it is listed here, I'm just spending 30 seconds over here so that audience can read it themselves and understand that there is a lot that's going on and the type of roles are plenty. Finance rotation program, I don't think it's listed here. Very proud to let you all know that Microsoft 2 years ago, I think it was Uma's batch, they gave us a job description, which was a finance rotation program. They gave it to campuses across the country. One student had to be picked up for this role, and they gave it to multiple undergrad colleges, and our student made it. It was a very, very competitive process with the final rounds, which was happening in Seattle from the Microsoft headquarters, and our student made it. So our students have done exceedingly well, and there are multiple such stories where students are doing exceedingly well. We had a student last year who got an offer from Bloom. It's a PEVC, Private Equity Venture Capital, and the student has been nominated for the best newcomer in the corporate world. He's been nominated by Bloom, and he has reached the final level. The award ceremony at a national level is on December 20th, and we are all rooting for him. So there are lots of student success stories in the workplace from Ashoka. If you ask me the number of students from which departments, the number of students placed, it looks something like this. This is only last year's data. The reason why chemistry probably is only one, and I must put it here, is certain subjects like chemistry, biology, undergrad degree is not enough to get into a hardcore chemistry or a pharma or a biology research role. You've got to have a master's degree. Now, undergrad chemistry, if the student is deciding to move on from chemistry and go into a corporate role, then it's all right. There are a lot of organizations, they are like agnostic. They are major agnostic. They don't care as long as the other skill sets are in place. Then a corporate role, it doesn't matter. But if you're looking for a deep chemistry role in a lab sort of a research sort of a set organization, then master's degree is required. I think I'll stop sharing here. Jinal, over to you for further questions.
Yes. Also for the audience, all the data and the stats that Urmi was showing us, this is specific to students who want to take up job roles, after Ashoka. So, the chart that also she, shared in the graph, the numbers were in 300s because these are the ones who apply to the placements. And there are, of course, the ones who don't because they plan to go for higher education. And so we don't cover that data, So I just wanted to kind of clarify that. Okay, with that, I think, Uma Shankar, I want to bring in a last question to you before we take in the audience questions. I think you touched upon it a little, but, how has Ashoka's diverse student body, whether it, in terms of geography, gender, socioeconomic diversity that is on Ashoka campus, helped and shaped your academic experience and growth? Do you want to highlight any specific experience or anything of that sort?
Right. I think in terms of academic, I mean, I think I've touched upon how it really helps in the job market and when you go out into your corporate roles, but in your academic experiences as well, right? I think the diversity in the student body is obviously there, and I think it builds you as a holistic individual in 4 years. But I think in terms of your education, you also get diversity. I think, as Urmi mentioned, that the professor lineup, right? The academic body at Ashoka is extremely diverse. You have folks any of the liberal arts subjects can be taught from, a variety of political perspectives, if you will. And whether it's economics, psychology, political science, especially, all of these things. Jinal, are you saying something? Sorry.
Yeah. No, sorry.
Yeah. So, all of these things can be taught from a variety of political perspectives. And, people think and people associate Ashoka with a certain political perspective, which I will sort of want to make you guys aware of. That is not the case at all. There are folks and professors teaching students the subjects from a variety of different perspectives. And that sort of helps you make a real informed decision, right? It's not, and that decision also helps you actually build on an academia, because if you go to DU for, say, an economics degree, you're only learning, it's a very rote learning model. You have questions and answers and things of that nature. At Ashoka, in the first year or two, they will cover that rote learning. You will build your basics. You will build the basic, technical requirement. For example, in economics, I can speak to that well. And then in your third year, when the electives come in, right, that the diversity that's offered there in terms of the types of courses, what they cover, and how they actually utilize what you've learned in your first 2 years and implement that. And I think that's only possible because of the diversity that's there in Ashoka and in Ashoka's faculty. If folks aren't coming from different perspectives, they won't be able to sort of teach the students things from different perspectives. I think, like, a fact of that, I think I did courses in economics on food security, then I did economics courses on gender equality, and again, not from a political perspective, but from an actual academic and statistical perspective. And these are things and opportunities that kids just don't get. I have friends from SRCC and from Hindu and from Ramjas, the top and the cream of the crop liberal arts colleges in India where economics is taught. They have no experience whatsoever. If you give them a topic to write a paper on, they will not be able to. They can solve an equation and they can solve the regression, probably a bit slower than us, not as fast as us, but if you give them a paper to write, they're just unable to do so. And the skills like that are sort of offered just because of the diversity of the faculty. And I think that's something that Ashoka offers that's really unique and sort of, on top of obviously your growth as an individual over 4 years.
Wow, I love that confidence, Uma Shankar. Great. So Urmi, on that note, any last words from you before we take the audience questions?
Fun fact, Jinal, I'm also a Ashoka parent, right? Both my boys are alumni Ashoka University. From a very different perspective, not just as an employee, as a mother, as a parent, I have seen Ashoka. I have seen them grow with this campus. So what more can I say? I think it was when our first son went to Ashoka. For the second one, we didn't even have to think because we knew that there is no other campus better than this. And therefore, for the first one we did have some apprehensions, but none at all for the second one. And therefore, I think the campus is doing exceedingly well. And I don't say this just because I work here. I say it as a parent and with full faith. Parents today should send their kids to Ashoka because this is a platform which is giving international level of education.
No, I think nobody can vouch more than what you can vouch for. 100%. Yes. Okay. So with this, we're taking the audience questions. Audience, if you have any questions, please type in your questions in the Q&A. We already have some questions that, some of them have asked. So I'll begin with the questions. So the first question is, could you please clarify on how Ashoka helps with internships? So Urmi, can you just talk about internships and, at what point can they start taking up internships at Ashoka?
Yeah, so a little bit I have already covered, but again, I will address this question that internships students can do right after year one. The summer break is when most of our students go for internships. The college breaks for a long summer vacation, which is mid of May to mid of August. They do not have any academic commitments at that time, and they are 100% available to the organization for internships. That's the time they can take up an internship opportunity right after year one. So transitioning from year one to year two to year three, again, then year three to year four. These are the summer breaks and students can do internships. Apart from that, we also have a small window of internship, which is the winter internship from mid of December to about third week of January, about 6 weeks. That time also, the college is shut, no academic commitments. Students do take up internships at that period of time. How do they get the opportunity? It's through our office. We facilitate the whole process. We get the jobs on board. We put it up on our portal. Students apply, and then the ball is in the recruiter's court for the selection. So we closed about more than 500 internships last year. We get those many opportunities and we facilitate the entire process. Like I mentioned before, from preparing to applying till they get the internship, we facilitate it all. A lot of companies also give a pre-placement offer, but that is given only to students who are going from year 3 to year 4. And they already have an offer before they come to year 4. And so when they graduate after year 4, they have a job in hand.
Yeah, so I think Urmi also covered the second question that somebody had asked, saying any specific support that you give for preparation for internship and identifying. So yes, as Urmi said, there is a full preparation done around this. Coming to the next question.
We also do, Jinal, just a lot of mock interviews. And we're doing it more and more and more. Plenty sessions of mock interview with facilitators, with members from the career office and other facilitators. So we have facilitators who help them prepare for interview. We do mock rounds. Some students are underconfident. They need more rounds. So we are there to handhold for the entire process.
Okay. So next question, what are the placement opportunities for political science graduate at Ashoka?
So a lot of organizations that are in the space of policy are coming to our campus for political science students specifically, right? I'm very proud to say that at a very senior level of governance and policy at Microsoft, Airbnb, Amazon, and Apple are all Ashoka alumni. Some of them are heading this vertical in these organizations and others are at a very senior level. These are our alumni. So if you're interested in roles that are policy, then political science is a best fit for that. There is a lot of requirement for these folks and for this specialization. So that is open for pol science. Apart from that, a lot of other firms, such as the consulting firms or even FMCG, they are major agnostic. If they find the right fit in terms of other skill sets or in terms of culture or the way they think, if they find the right fit, they do not really care whether you come from political science or English or philosophy, or maybe even computer science, right? So there are a lot of such organizations that are agnostic. Political science is as good as computer science or history or any other topic. Or then there are roles which are in policy, in international relations, which are specifically looking for such students.
Also on political science, I think BCG just hired, I think, so the batch, junior batch of mine, in 1 year below me, so BCG also hired one political science major last year from Ashoka itself.
Yes, all the consulting organizations are looking for skill sets that will match their, ecosystem. They're sort of ignore. When the job description comes to us, they never tell us that, open it out only to XYZ departments. It's open to all because they want to see who you are rather than what background you come from.
Okay. With that, I think there's another question on what are the opportunities for students who's done BSc Physics? So somebody from a science background, if you can cover that, what kind of opportunities open up for them?
It's pretty similar to what I said about Pol Science with the consult. So BSc Physics, it depends on what you want to do, right? If you want to get into a corporate setup, you want to get into consulting, then the consulting organizations are happy to take you if you fit the right framework, right? But if you want to do something very like physics, then you may need to do a master's in physics to get into a very, physics sort of role. Otherwise, if you have some skill sets, which are, some computer science sort of skill sets, if you know a couple of languages, then certain tech companies might be open to take you.
Okay. The next question is, are all internships with stipend?
Yes. All internships are with stipend. Happy to share that the highest stipend so far for an internship has been 1.5 lakhs per month. And again, it depends. So there are larger corporates that give a lot of stipend. We have aspirations, like I said, for the social sector, not for profit. Their stipend amounts are not so high. So it's a range. It's a band. It depends on the industry. Some of the internships, some of the organizations do tell us that it's a non-paid internships. We sort of do not really put those up because we don't see applications. We get so many opportunities which are paying, right? So we discourage organizations that are not paying stipends for internship.
Oh, this is something which even I totally didn't know that all of them are stipend. I thought it's a mix. Great. Okay.
No, it's not a mix. Out of 100, one may be unpaid. If I feel, or if the team feels that the learning is great, but they're not paying so much, then we do put it up, and we do see a few applications. Students who really want to learn and do not care about the stipend, they do apply. But we look for opportunities where the learning is great and there is some amount of stipend. So we discourage that, but we do put, if the learning is great, we do put it.
Got that.
But
yes.
Very rarely.
Okay. Yeah. Brings us to the next question. What is the average placements in the area of psychology, and which are the companies that hire psychology students?
Psychology, I think more and more organizations are looking for psych graduates for their HR function. Many just today we have closed a process with ITC for HR, and they were looking for graduates with psych major. They're doing very well in that space. Psychology also, some of the organizations, in ed tech, where there's some amount of counseling that is required, or very pure psychology focused roles. Psychology students are doing well, where there is some sort of counseling that is required. Over and above that, like I'm mentioning this again, many organizations are agnostic of where you come from. Psychology is also open to all those organizations.
And I think psychology finds probably place and fitment into every organization today in multiple departments also, Yeah. Okay, next question. Any not-for-profit organization that comes to Ashoka or roles in the social sector? I think your slide did cover, but maybe you can just, talk about it again.
Yeah, plenty of social sector organizations, foundations, development sector that do come to Ashoka for placements. A lot of our students are interested in such organizations. So we do, yes, to answer the question, many of our organizations are from the social sector.
Okay. One more question. Any specific support for preparation and maybe identifying and preparing student appropriate career opportunities for neurodivergent students that are on the campus?
Yes, certainly. We have a very strong center for learning support. That center is working very passionately and very closely with students who need support in that area.
Okay, great.
You'll be happy to know, and this is just an anecdote that I want to share, that last year or this year, I don't remember the year exactly, but we had a visually impaired student, one or two. In the past, we've had students who've done perhaps say, English or history, I don't know what, but non-STEM. But this year we've had students who are doing STEM subjects where the textbook is mostly graph. It's not like words, right? Our other students sat down and they've interpreted those graphs, and that's a lot of coursework. Interpreted graphs into words and given it out to our students who were visually challenged. So there's a lot of work that gets done not just by the Center for Learning Support, but also students who volunteer to participate and help.
Yeah, and any of y'all want to connect with these students, please feel free to write to us. We'll be very happy to connect to the departments and some existing students or alums as well, definitely. Okay, with this, I think we come to an end of our Q&A segment as well. Thank you, me and Umashankar, both for patiently answering so many questions that came your way. With this, thank you all for joining for today's webinar. I hope you enjoyed being part of our discussion on careers after Ashoka. We would really appreciate if you could just take a minute to share your valued feedback with us. The link for the feedback is provided in the chat box. And please note that the recording of this session will be available on Ashoka's YouTube channel in case if you feel you want to share it with your friends or your parents, in case if your parents couldn't attend it. The next webinar is on our undergraduate series, is on the topic Empowering a Generation, UG Admissions and Financial Aid at Ashoka, and is scheduled to be on this Friday, which is the 16th December at 6 p.m. The registration link is also provided in the chat box. You could quickly kind of click on that link and go and fill in the registration form. Before we end the session, I'd once again like to inform our audience that the deadline for the round 2 for the undergraduate program 2024 is ending on 10th of January 2024. I would encourage students to apply now and get a confirmed offer of admission and financial aid by March 2024. For more information, you can write to us at ugapply@ashoka.edu.in or contact us on the numbers given on the screen. This brings us to the end of this session. Please take care and have a great weekend. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us, Jinal. Thank you and good night.
Good night.